Good evening from Tallahassee. It's Thursday, April 9th here, and it's been a warm one today. We didn't break that record like we did yesterday, but it was still warm.
Yes, it was very hot out today. We had a little bit of a breeze that kept us cooler, but...
We only made it up to 86, and those clouds that you saw today are a sign of things to come.
Yes, big things are coming our way. They're already through the middle of the country right now.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
A couple of storms passing through, well, more than a couple of storms. There've been a lot of storms across the Midwest. We'll get to that later in the show. But it's so hot, we thought we'd talk a little bit about hurricane season.
Yeah, with the warm weather coming around, it's time to start thinking about hurricane season.
Yeah, Colorado State University produced their first forecast today. It's a below average forecast for tropical storms. Normally we would have 12. This year we're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 7.
Yep, 7 tropical storms, 3 hurricanes projected as well.
Yeah.
And 1 major hurricane.
Yeah, this is the reason why. We're going to have a lot of factors that will inhibit development for hurricanes. The first one being an El Nino that's going to develop. And that really kind of cascades into a lot of different things. One of those things being those cool waters that feed hurricanes.
Yes, we're not looking at a lot of hurricanes this season, but Florida hasn't had a hurricane in about 10 years.
Yeah, it's been since Wilma, way back when, and it's been 9 years since Wilma, but one of the drive home points that we want to make is it only takes 1 hurricane to cause damage.
It does. And with that 1 major hurricane forecasted, you never know. It could be Florida.
Yeah. And it only takes 1 storm also locally, although we didn't have that 1 storm here. We had those yesterday, but Reuben's going to tell us more about those clear and starting to get cloudy skies now.
Thank you, John. Well, those skies were clear earlier. The storm, our next cold front system will be moving in this weekend. Right now we see 84 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. We see those dew points and humidities picking up, increasing throughout the day, which causes really muggy, really hot feeling outside today. Looking at the satellite and radar, we see those clouds begin to envelop our area, bringing up those a couple of pop-up afternoon showers and storms that not necessarily around our area, but surrounding our area. And tonight's forecast, we'll see 64 degrees. We see a tranquil night, very calm, no wind, very partly cloudy. Those skies will be clearing. Our weather headlines, we'll see another warm Friday. Clouds will be increasing throughout the weekend, which will bring us a soggy weekend in time for the spring football game. And now we're going to head it right back to the desk.
So those storms that are coming our way, we were talking about how they've already hit some of our northern portions of the country, including Chicago, and they're seeing flight delays. Yeah,
Chicago had a rush of airliners trying to get in before those storms really hit, and they've really worked into the Chicagoland area, all the way down into Dallas as well. Yeah, they had over 200 planes were delayed in Chicago, 90 minutes or more delays. These are major delays for people. Yeah, and those delays extend into the Northeast. We just added Dulles and Washington, D.C. We've added both New York City airports as well as Boston.
Yes, we have. So we're seeing these delays start popping up more and more around the country, and they might be headed our way. Yeah, this whole storm system is moving down towards the south, so we'll talk about maybe Memphis tomorrow, maybe Atlanta getting into the eastern seaboard tomorrow. Some of those storms working in there. Yes, for us, maybe just a little bit later tomorrow night going into Saturday, but now we're going to send it off to Ian at the wall.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we have a bit of change ahead. Today we saw not as warm as yesterday. It was a cooler day. It was still warm though. You felt that 82 in Tallahassee, at 86 up in Quincy, even hotter up in Bainbridge away from the coast, 88. A little bit cooler down near the coast, 76 in Carabel and 79 St. Mark. So definitely it was a warm day, but not nearly as warm as it was yesterday when we had that record-setting temp. Now, what you're going to notice is there's a lot of moisture on our way. This is all associated with the cold front that will be moving its way through come this weekend. So not such a great weekend up in store for us, but with all this moisture, it's all from those winds from the south. So out in front of that cold front, you're going to notice a lot of rain ahead for us. So as we move on into the future cast, you're going to definitely see that cold front start to make its impact on the weather, especially in the southeast. So coming to Friday morning, you see the cold front all the way up in the west corner, and that's going to start pushing its way through. The clouds are going to build up on Friday. We're going to have a lot more clouds tomorrow, so you're going to notice that. So today we had a little bit less, we had clouds, but not as many. We're going to have more clouds tomorrow. But as we move on, the beach weather tomorrow is actually not going to be that bad. Winds out of the southeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour, a 1 to 2 foot chop. UV index is at 6, so really it's not so bad. So if you have a Friday off, take advantage of that, because the weekend weather is not going to be so great, but beach weather for tomorrow should be spot on. If you're boating, if you're lucky enough to have a boat or a friend with a boat, The winds are going to be out of the south, 5 to 10 knots with that 1 to 2 foot light chop, but it's the last sunny day, so take advantage of this. Can't express that enough. For tonight's forecast, 64 degrees, a tranquil night, so it should be a pleasant night for you there with partly cloudy skies and winds will be calm, but that will soon change as we move on into the 7-day forecast. We have rain associated with that cold front moving on through this weekend. You can see an 80% chance of rain Saturday, so that is game day for us for that spring game. We're going to have a bit of rain, lots of clouds, 80 degrees with a low of 66. Sunday, 60% chance of rain with a low of 65. So overall, this weekend, it's going to be a cloudy, dreary weekend. So if you have plans for outdoors, unfortunately, they're probably going to be affected by this weather, so come up with some other sort of plan. I know for myself, I have tests next week, so I will be taking advantage of that. Monday, if you look ahead, 83 degrees is a high on Monday, so not so bad with a 85-degree high on Tuesday. So weather overall will be changing. You're going to notice a lot more cloud cover, a lot more rain for you, unfortunately, but for the most part, weather should be great afterwards looking into next week. But we're going to move on, and we're going to throw it back to the southeast with Paxton, as she has more to tell us about weather in store for the rest of the country.
Yeah, weather in store for the rest of us here it's a little cloudy. Clouds are building up a little bit, but we do have some clouds and some rain associated with the front coming towards our area. So like Ian was saying earlier, these storms will continue to come in throughout the weekend and into tomorrow. So it's going to be a soggy weekend, definitely, and that's upsetting, especially for us. We have a spring game, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We're currently in Tallahassee, it's 82, 81 in New Orleans. And this little purple spot, it's not the end of the world. It's just a miscommunication between data. The data's not recording properly in that area, so there's nothing to worry about. So no catastrophes going on over there. And then for today's high temps, we had 86 degrees in Tallahassee. That's 5 degrees colder than it was yesterday. So yeah, it's still pretty hot, but it's a lot better than being 91. And then for the rest of Florida, 87 in Orlando, and then in the mid-80s down in South Florida. So it's just hot across the whole region, and you could definitely see that with all the reds in the area. But we have a little bit of greens and yellows up north in North Carolina. But in this area, it's just reds, nothing great. Again, ignore that little spot over in Mississippi. But the current heat index is 85 in Tallahassee. So currently it is 86, 1 degree. It feels 1 degree cooler, 85. You can definitely not tell the difference. It's hot. It's just hot everywhere. And again, you can see the reds all over the southeast. And that will be continuing throughout the week and into next week as well. Looking at the future cast, we have a little bit of rain associated with the front and the high pressure system off to our northeast and a little bit of cloud cover. And as we move on into tonight and early tomorrow morning, we have this little line of showers coming through into our area or just north of us. So nothing too much impacting our weather, but you could definitely see the rain to our east and then off to our northwest tomorrow night. So the clouds, the moisture, the rain will be increasing throughout the day tomorrow. And then definitely into Saturday, where you can see the moisture propagate into our area, bring in the rain, and you can see it's still there for 2 p.m., which will be the game day on Saturday. For tonight, it will be 67. It is cool, mild. You definitely do not need a jacket with you tonight. And then moving on into tomorrow, it's going to be a high 88, a little hotter than it was today, but it's going to be a lot more cloudy, and the rain will begin to move into our area. And then we have hurricane outlook, but you just have to stay tuned a little bit. But right now, I'm just going to throw it off to the desk.
It's been a very stormy day up towards the north. We talked a little bit about JFK earlier. Mm-hmm. We have severe thunderstorm watches. There are 8 of those in effect, which means conditions are favorable across a good section of the country today.
Yeah, we really do. And we also have some tornado watches out there as well. We saw 1 tornado in Illinois today. It didn't do too much damage, but definitely a little bit of circulation out there.
Yeah, and we're just now getting into that heating of the day, so now we could have a couple more storms pop up. There is an enhanced risk of some storms going into the afternoon hours. And we talked about the flight delays, but you've got to think about those people on the roads as well, causing lots of people some distress.
Oh yes, it's getting a little bit crazy out there all across the country, really. But tomorrow, are we going to really see much of these severe storms?
The risk is a little bit lower tomorrow, and that front will slowly sag its way into the I-10 corridor. There's a very narrow window tomorrow afternoon into the early evening hours where we could see a couple of strong storms in Georgia.
Yeah, but lots of rain still associated with this front. for us.
We're talking about maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches of rain for mainly our Georgia counties and our western Florida counties.
Okay, well, we're going to send it right back out to Jay.
Thank you, Kendra. Today around nationally, it's been quite a severe day for most of the nation. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Currently, 52 in Kansas City, 82 in Dallas, 85 in San Antonio, just a bunch of heat in the southeast. Over to the west, you're not seeing much of that. You're seeing temperatures in mid-70s, low 60s, with 64 in San Francisco, 79 in Phoenix. But I'll tell you about more on that with the weather when I go around, take a tour of the national. Satellite radar, you're seeing a bunch of activity over in Detroit, as well as these lines you start to see comes a little bit form between Memphis and Dallas. I'll zoom in on that when we come up to it. I'll take a look right now around the Great Lakes area. A bunch of activity, a lot of severe storms over in the Great Lakes, especially in Minneapolis, where the storms just passed their area. Another line of cells starting to make its way through Minneapolis. So make sure you stay prepared for that, because it's going to be quite a bit of storm for Memphis, Minneapolis and the Great Lakes. Severe weather for the south. You are seeing storms starting to make its way over into Dallas. It's going to start making its way over in Memphis and Jackson. So parts of Louisiana and Texas are seeing a bunch of the storms starting to make its way through the area. So it's going to make its way into our area later on into Saturday and into Sunday. It's still snowing just a little bit over in Idaho and Montana, just a bit, not too much. We're getting closer to summer, so you're not going to see much more snow for too much longer. So that snow is just a kind of rarity right now. Because it is spring, so snow is not going to be much of a picture later on. Futurecast, you are seeing a bunch of storms for Thursday. Going into Friday, those storms start to make its way into Atlanta, as well as parts of New Orleans and parts of the South. But when we go into Saturday, those storms start to make its way and start making an impact on us for the spring game around 2 o'clock by Saturday. So we're starting to see storms come in probably right around 9 for Saturday. So it's going to be quite a stormy one for Saturday and into the weekend. Airport delays, there's quite a couple airport delays. There's 162 minutes in Chicago, 23 in Dallas, going over behind my head, 42 in Boston, 47 in New York. So a bunch of delays because of all the storms that make way, that are making a very big impact on much of the airports. So quite a few delays here and there. For tonight's forecast, you are seeing 55 in Dallas, 66 in San Antonio, 32 in Denver. It's quite a cool one over in the western side with 50 in San Francisco, 50 in Phoenix. But for the south, you're seeing a bunch of temperatures in the higher 60s, low 70s. For tomorrow, you're seeing temperatures start making its way a little more warm, but it's going to be quite a stormy one. For the south, are you seeing 88 in Tallahassee, 82 in New Orleans, 77 in Atlanta. But for the west, not so much, with temperatures are a little bit more sunny because there are in the west no more storms that are making their way into the area. But we're stopping around with locally. Let's take it out to Kendra.
Thanks, Jay. So we've just recently transitioned into the springtime months, only a couple weeks ago actually, but we've been feeling temperatures that feel more like summer. Today it's been 86 degrees. That's 10 degrees off of the average. The low is as well 10 degrees off of the average. We had 33 degrees in 1971. We're way above that. It's starting to feel really warm out there. And right now it's 82 degrees, mostly cloudy. Those clouds are starting to build up just a little bit. The dew point's at 68. The winds are 10 miles per hour. It's a little bit gusty out there as well, which is why it felt a little bit cooler than yesterday. Those winds and those clouds keeping us just a little bit cooler. Satellite radar, here's those clouds I'm talking about. They're just making their way over the area. A little bit of a blip over here by Mariana, but in our area, no rain, just clouds. We're going to see that change next tomorrow. Current temperature is 82 right now in Tallahassee. Way cooler by the coast in Panama City. Valdosta, 85. Albany, 88 degrees. It's getting really toasty up there. This is what we've been seeing for the last couple of days. Look at this pattern that we've been noticing. Starting off pretty high in the morning, or 64 degrees, and peaking really, really high in the afternoon. 86 today. Water vapor. So here's the front that we've been talking about all evening. It's over here to our west, and all the green, this is all the moisture that's going to come into our area starting tomorrow evening. There's only a slight chance of severe storms, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Tonight, it's warm. We're keeping that pattern that we've been seeing for the past couple of days. The clouds are going to start to build up as this front slowly moves, and it really is moving slowly. It's taking its sweet time coming down here, and it's going to sit over top of us all weekend.
So here it's coming Friday, and that's the little section of time that we might see the severe weather. It was right there Friday evening. This is Saturday, 2 o'clock p.m. The spring game, it's not looking good. It's going to probably be rainy all day long. It's going to be one of those dreary weekends, which is not good news for our football team and our fans. For tonight, though, it's going to be our last tranquil night. It's the calm before the storm. 64 degrees in Tallahassee, 67 in Quincy. And tomorrow, 88 degrees once again. This is primarily in the morning. We're going to see it cool down just a little bit as that cold front makes its way through slowly. Clouds increasing tomorrow in the earlier parts of the day, and then maybe a little bit of rain at night. So here we go into our 5-day forecast. Friday, there's a 20% chance of rain. Saturday, 80% chance we're probably going to see that rain. Sunday as well. Monday and Tuesday, even rain there. So it's looking like a lot of clouds, a lot of rain. We're going to send it back to the desk for more information.
Well, thank you for that weather report, Kendra. Well, it's April. It's warming up. That means tornado season.
Yes, and also you see the difference between watches and warning. We're going to talk about that with, I'm talking about the watches. Reuben, you're talking about the warnings, but let's go to the watch. A watch is issued when conditions are favorable. For example, either severe thunderstorms or tornadoes. It can be when conditions are favorable. That means it is a watch, not a warning.
However, a warning is when conditions have been reported, when a meteorologist has reported that there is like rotation in a thunderstorm cell, which will obviously result in a tornado possibly forming.
Yes, but for our area, we may see a thunderstorm watch in effect going on into the spring game. But for more about what happened around the spring game, let's take it over to Ian with a little more about what's happening around the spring game and what possibly could happen with the weather conditions for this weekend.
Yeah, a lot going on this weekend. We have the spring game coming up this Saturday, but the weather unfortunately is not supposed to be that great with rain expected. In addition to that, there's a lot going on into this spring game as Jimbo Fisher has some questions with quarterbacks and injuries to deal with. And there we have more on that now. Only months apart from a disappointing ending to an historic season, head coach Jimbo Fisher and his Florida State Seminoles football team are anxious to begin a new chapter of this organization, beginning with the annual Garnet and Gold Spring Game taking place this Saturday, April 11th, here behind me at Joe Campbell Stadium.
Bounces it, gets to the far sideline, and Freddie Stevenson operated with 53 yards rushing.
With a new look to their offense in the wake of the departure of previous Heisman winner Jameis Winston, running back Carlos Williams, and tight end Nick O'Leary, the Seminoles are ready to see what the new offense has in store this season. One of the biggest stories coming out of this spring has been focused on the battle for the quarterback position. Currently, Florida State's next starting quarterback could be any of 3 players next season. It appears now that Sean McGuire, who helped Florida State beat Clemson in overtime at Joe Campbell Stadium, seems like the most logical choice for Jimbo Fisher leading into the spring game. Other quarterbacks such as John Franklin III and J.J. Cosentino offer distinct abilities that make the competition an interesting one. Regardless of who takes the position going into the season, it will be a difficult task to fill the shoes of Jameis, currently expected to be the #1 NFL draft pick this month. Florida State returns a strong defense again this season and is expected to compete once again for the ACC title with teams like Clemson and Georgia Tech. For the fans, the Garnet and Gold game will be the first display of this year's talent and depth for the upcoming season. Jimbo Fisher and his team hope to demonstrate the competitiveness and dominance they have displayed over the past 2 years, but have a lot to prove going into the season.
The 2015 Garnet and Gold Spring Game is set to kick off this coming Saturday at 2. If you're in the mood to get here early, tailgating begins at 8 and is free on a first-come, first-served basis. In addition to tailgating being free, admission to the game is free itself, with gates opening at 1. For more information, visit Seminoles.com. Reporting in front of Joe Campbell Stadium, this is Ian Cassette for FSU Weather.
Thank you for that riveting report out at Joe Campbell Stadium. I'm looking forward to that game on Saturday. It's been clear across the region today, and it's looking similar for most of tomorrow, although high pressure is in control right now, and that's kept those showers down across the area today. We've had a couple of days now where Perry up to Madison has seen some rain. Today we've seen a little bit of break from that rain, but out towards the west, those storms are starting to break out. Northeast Texas up into Louisiana and Arkansas. This is the reason we've had that storm track well off towards our west. We have a very strong area of high pressure that's really joisting everything off towards the north, up and around the Appalachians and across the mid-Atlantic. That's why we're seeing delays today in JFK up into Chicago, and that's going to continue slowly translating off towards the east, slowly towards our area into tomorrow. The heat is on today, 87 degrees in Montgomery, 81 in Shreveport. I was looking at El Paso a little while ago, 84 degrees out there, 81 in New Orleans, 82. We didn't break that record today, but that mercury will be rising again for tomorrow. Look at this dew point. This is the measure of the amount of moisture out there. 67 degrees. This is on the muggy side and extremely muggy down in New Orleans. Winds out of the south are going to keep pushing that moisture up into the mid-Atlantic, up to the Arklatex. Look at this division line. You can very clearly see the front here, just passing Kansas City and Des Moines right now, working into the Chicago area. And that's kind of putting a lid on all of those showers off towards the east. This whole line is pushing off towards the east, but not before it causes quite a bit of disruption towards your plans if you're living in Arkansas. Look, these red boxes here are tornado watch boxes going to the late evening hours for most of us here. There's a severe thunderstorm watch box just east of Dallas, all the way up into northern Arkansas. And these continue all the way up into the mid-Atlantic and into the Midwest. Chicago now getting into that tornado watch, and a new severe thunderstorm watch for southern Wisconsin. That includes the city of Madison until just about midnight. And then another area just off towards the east along the Ohio River, down towards the south, Cincinnati getting in on that, Pittsburgh, and another severe thunderstorm watch. All of these areas seeing winds upwards of 60 miles per hour, maybe some hail. And in Peoria, Illinois today, we had a very small rope tornado that touched down briefly along with that. Here's a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings along that river there. Some of these cells are producing a little bit of hail and very strong gusts, especially with this line approaching the Pittsburgh area now, moving into the city there, pushing into northern West Virginia as well, and heading off towards the west. We've got some storms cranking just east of Dallas, Fort Worth, up towards the Arklamis and the Arklatex, moving into Little Rock as we head through the next hour or so. Little Rock, the western parts of Little Rock in on the warning right now, and there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. That means if you are in Little Rock, you should probably take some shelter now because the very heavy rainfall, a little bit of hail, and maybe some high winds will be moving into that area over the next half an hour or so. And that whole system moves off towards the east. Watch the colors here. We've got that very warm air, high pressure in control for most of the area tonight. 70 degrees in Orlando, 75 in Miami. That air isn't going to go anywhere down in South Florida, but up towards the north, we're talking about 50s during the early evening hours. Talking about 51 in Little Rock, 58 in Tupelo, but as that front pushes down towards the south, you can actually look at that front for the tomorrow graphic. We're looking at 82 degrees with storms tomorrow afternoon, 79 in Montgomery. We're hanging out with high 80s tomorrow during the afternoon hours. That front comes in on Saturday and cools us off just a little bit for that spring game on Saturday. But we've got more rain to talk about 110 years ago. Jay?
Yes, we do, John. But like he said, 100 years of rain means it's time for weather history.
That is right. We'll take you all the way up to Maine in 1901, where the greatest Penobscot River flood. Many bridges were damaged in that.
Ooh, quite a significant rain delay. But a little colder side what happened back today. Back in Barrow, Alaska in 1991, it saw negative 36 degrees of cold.
Negative 36 degrees. And it's very windy up in that part of Alaska, so those wind chills were down in the negative 50s.
Yeah, so quite a cold one. Mm-hmm. And for the last one, we're going to take it back to South Dakota in 1988.
1988, South Dakota residents of Sioux City, South Dakota, woke up to 2 inches of snow. Now that night, that might not be significant, but the day before, they hit 88 degrees.
So quite a cold one indeed. But for a little more about what's happening around with the perfect weather we're seeing so far, let's take out the perfect Paxton.
That was so nice, Jay. Well, for the satellite radar, it's a little cloudy in our area. You can see that the clouds are progressing from the west towards the east as the day goes on. And, you know, the weather's perfect right now, too. And as we move on for the current conditions, it's 82 in Tallahassee. You can see we are a little cloudy compared to areas like Valdosta and Panama City where they have little itty-bitty suns. And then as we go more south in Orlando, it's still partly cloudy. A little bit like us, not as cloudy, but temperature-wise, they're pretty similar to what we are going through right now. For futurecast temperatures, for Tallahassee for tonight, 77 at 8 p.m. And as we go throughout the night, it drops a little bit. Nothing too much because it only gets to about 62 by tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And then as we go throughout the day, they hike up right back up to 87 degrees in Tallahassee. So it's another hot day, about the same as today, but the showers and the clouds will be continue to linger on into tomorrow, and then they'll build up into the weekend. For Saturday morning, 69 is your low temperature, your morning temperature, and that's going to continue to rise as well. So it's going to be getting a lot hotter again, not as hot as these past couple of days, but again, the clouds and the rain help cool us down a little bit. For on the sand, if you want to go to the beach tomorrow, surf's only 1 to 2 feet. The wind's not that bad, 5-10 miles per hour. The UV index is only a 6. You might think that may be a little bit low for the sun we've been experiencing, but it's only a 6. But nevertheless, make sure you bring your sunscreen with you because the sun, you want to protect yourself against it. And the water is a nice 74 degrees. So you definitely could go in the water, have some fun in the sun, cool down in the water. But if you want to go to the beach, make sure you do it in the early morning hours or early afternoon because the storms will continue to come to our area throughout the day. And for on the water, 5 to 10 knots, 1 to 2 feet again. And if you look at the sunset's at 8:02 p.m., so it's past 8 o'clock and it's still a little bit sunny. So we have those summer nights ahead of us, longer hours, longer sunshine hours, which is great. That's something I really like. I like when it's sunny throughout the whole day, for the most part, not when it gets dark around 6. So for tonight, 64 degrees. It's going to be a nice tranquil night, nice and cool, mild. You don't need a jacket, you don't need your umbrellas or anything like that tonight. That's for tomorrow night and through the weekend. And then for tomorrow in Tallahassee, we have a high of 88. It's another sizzling day. And the clouds will be increasing into our area. And then if you're excited for the FSU spring game forecast, make sure you bring your ponchos with you. It's going to be a little rainy. A lot rainy, actually. It's going to be 80 degrees. The clouds and the rain are going to cool us back down. 80% chance of rain. So like I was saying, bring your ponchos. It is going to be a wet one out there. And for your 7-day forecast, you can see we have 88 tomorrow, but they continue to cool down due to the rain coming in. But as that frontal system passes, we will be building up our temperatures. But we're just going to hand this right back over to the desk for one final look.
Well, thank you for that update, Paxton. Are you going to the football game this weekend?
No, unfortunately I'm not. I'm going to be inside watching it with my roommates.
Well, you're definitely going to stay dry. And also what's happening this weekend, Relay for Life.
Yes, our club team for tennis is going to be out there supporting the Spell Relay for Life.
As well as the Campus Lions Club, and I will be at that booth, and you should come say hi to me if you're around.
Yes, you're going to see both of us there. So just come say hi. We're here. We're friendly. So
Definitely will. And, well, looking at that forecast, we can see that, once again, it'll be 88 degrees tomorrow. So we're going to see it's going to be really nice, our last day of sunshine. Looking at Saturday, that next cold front will storm its way in. It'll be a dreary Saturday. The spring game will be rained out. And it's just not going to be a great weekend, but...
Yeah, but, if you want to see a very great weekend for our happy faces, you can always like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and watch us on Love the Face on livestream.com/FSU Weather.
And we also have an Instagram page, so if you're into that, you can follow us as well there.
Yes, but for more, what's happening later on, I'm student meteorologist Kimball.
And I'm student meteorologist Reuben Weiner. Have a great night, Tallahassee, and as always, go Noles.